Hey everyone, Nick Eatman here along with Stephen Jones, Cowboys Chief Operating Officer. And man, it sure has been a unique week here at the Star. You got 2 home games that they've just played, got a 3rd game coming up here at home. But all the talk has been about visitors and recruiting and all this. So I'll let you kind of catch us up on how things went with Odell Beckham Jr. here in the building and those visits.
Well, first of all, we're always trying to get better as a football team, and certainly when a great player like Odell Beckham, you have an opportunity to take a look and see what you could do to improve your football team. It's in our mind, you have to get in there and look at it. And certainly we had a great visit with him. Outstanding young man, certainly a great competitor. I know he's dying to get back on the field, but we had a great couple days with him, and now the devil's in the detail. I mean, we've got to get in there, and it's not if, but when he gets back, and certainly we've got to figure all that out, and then what the value is for that, and what his goals are in terms of his financial future, and of course we're looking at what he can do for the Dallas Cowboys, first and foremost this year, but certainly don't rule out the future as well.
You talk about a dynamic player and wide receiver added to the group. I don't know if it's a coincidence or not, but in the last 4 or 5 weeks that this is going on, your wide receivers, including CeeDee Lamb, have just been playing probably their best football. Do you think that there's a connection there?
Well, I just think it's a natural progression for both CeeDee and Michael. Obviously with CeeDee, he's moved into the role of what Amari was doing for us last year. He's our #1 receiver. You can tell he's getting more and more comfortable every week, just keeps making big plays. Certainly Dak and him are getting their rhythm down. And then, of course, Michael Gallup coming off that knee injury. That's a natural progression too. I mean, you look at guys who come off ACLs, they just keep getting better week by week. And certainly that's what Michael's doing. And we got some other guys who are coming up here too. James Washington is coming off the IR, DTR. He's got a great chance to play this week. And then, of course, Noah Brown, just Mr. Steady. He does all the dirty work, blocking for Tony and Zeke, and then also just makes big plays when you need him. He drew that big defensive pass interference there in the game. A big, long penalty that got us down near the goal line. And he's just a dependable guy that we're lucky to have.
Going back to James Washington, because we haven't seen him on the field yet, your other receivers, CeeDee, Gallup, even Noah Brown, tall, kind of somewhat lanky. He's built a little different, more like a stocky running back. Does that help you at all, having a different size player that goes in there and maybe can do it in a different way?
Well, I always think, having versatility is a great thing. And in your receiving core, I think it's a huge plus. Like Noah, like I said, Noah can dig them out. He's strong, he's physical. We do have some length out there. We want to continue to look for ways to use Turpin's explosiveness. He's obviously a smaller package, a lighter package, if you will, but got great explosion, great eyes on the field. And, we continue to look for ways to use his speed and juice to make plays. So I think we've got a great crew that should just get better. As you said, Washington, he knows how to use his body. He's got a different body, as you said, but it's one that he's been very productive with. And, his big thing is the vertical threat. He just seems to be able to use that body to box them out and come down with big balls. So we'll see how that progresses as well. We're certainly fortunate to have him. And like I said, I think we got a great group.
Yeah, a lot of depth at receiver. Flipping to cornerback, your depth is obviously getting tested there with another player out for the season in Anthony Brown. Obviously, you've got some corners that you've drafted there, Kelvin Joseph, Nashawn Wright, Deron Bland. What do you like about that position when you have to replace Brown?
Well, I know when the season started, we couldn't believe we were keeping 7 corners. I mean, you just usually don't do that. But those guys deserve to be on the roster. They earned roster spots. When you throw in CJ, one of the best special teams players in the league. We've got some real resources tied up, and Kelvin and Nashawn, they've really played a big role for us on special teams. They'll continue to do that, but now, those guys are going to have to step up. And then, of course, the one who really stepped up is Bland. I think he had 2 picks, and I know he was in the running for Rookie of the Week on several networks, but the game's certainly not too big for him. He stepped in for J. Lou and done an outstanding job holding that nickel position down. And I know our coaches have a lot of confidence and are comfortable in what he does. Certainly Joseph is maybe one of the more talented guys, period, in that corner group. And he just needs to be more consistent. He certainly manned the ship and figured it out on special teams. He just needs to take that same intensity and consistency and do it at the corner position.
Your coaching staff, when you're facing say a division rival or on the road or whatever, easy to get the team ready for that. You're going up against a Houston team that struggled. They've only won a game. Is this where the coaching staff and the players really have to control themselves and say, all right, we have to focus on this. This is an NFL football team, regardless of what experts say might happen in this game?
Well, obviously the Texans have, they've been through some adversity down there in terms of changing quarterbacks and coaches and those type of things. But you just have to stay focused. They pay their guys. They have some really good football players on that football team. And like you said, if you go to sleep at the wheel in this league, you're going to get your feelings hurt. And I think this team is made up right leadership to keep the focus in terms of what we need to do to go out and play good football. And if we do that, hopefully we'll come away with a win.
It's still a rivalry game, though. You know, your son was one of the greatest high school football players there in the state of Texas. So is this like a state championship game type, Houston and Dallas?
It always is. It is. And we think the world of the McNairs. We miss Bob McNair, but Cal's manning the ship down there along with Mrs. McNair. It is a rivalry game. I mean, they've got a great fan base down there in Houston. And I know every time we strap them on up there, you want to win that state title, and certainly we'll be playing for it Sunday, and look forward to a very competitive game.
All right, Stephen Jones, Cowboys Chief Operating Officer. I'm Nick Eatman. We'll see you next time on DallasCowboys.com.